Frank with our third installment of the Metaphysical Corner, and as I promised, we want to talk about astrology today. I will give you a little bit of a primer on it, because a lot of people do not understand what, even though it's one of the more ancient sciences, and it is considered a science, maybe not in the same realm as astronomy, but it certainly has been around for a long, long time. And buddy, I don't need you to do that. Editorial comment from the puppies. Um, as I told you, I am a amateur astrologer at best. When I say that there are people out there who are true professionals, my hat goes off to them because the study of astrology can be life consuming. There's tremendous amounts of different types of astrology. There's relationship astrology, there's this astrology, there's even Indian astrology. God bless those who could do it all. And maybe if I had the time, I would. But I like what they call Western astrology, basically with the Western half of the world version of it. And I like dealing with natal horoscopes. Now, if you've never heard the term, the natal horoscopes is where the planets were on the exact day that you were born, and I mean down to the second. No two people on Earth have the same exact natal horoscope, even if they're born at the same exact second, because they're not in the same location. The location makes a difference too in the natal horoscope. So no one has the exact same natal horoscope. What it is at the moment you're born, it's a snap. Your natal horoscope is a snapshot, if you will, of where all the planets were at that moment in time. And this is basically burned. Well, there are people who will argue where it gets burned into your system, but I believe it's your DNA, which we will talk about later. And it becomes your roadmap. And it represents the challenges that you will face in life. It represents the good things that will happen to you in life. Nothing is guaranteed, nothing is absolute. But also what is important is the planets have what is called aspects to each other at the day you're born and at the moment you're born and from all time forward and backwards too, by the way. But what it boils down to is what happens is the planets are always aspecting each other, and there's main ones like what they call a square, a conjunction, an opposition. I have to emphasize there is no such thing as a bad. There was a group called Cream back in the '60s that made a very popular song called "Born Under a Bad Sign." Very popular song. Totally untrue. There is no bad sign. Each sign, there's 12 of them. They're all different, but there is no bad sign. There's no bad aspects. There are challenging ones. Yes. Bad, no. But the challenging aspects are ones that you are meant to grow from. But for example, well, if you go through, to give you an illustration, my birthday is November 23rd. Now, before I learned anything about astrology, I think everyone knows something about their sun sign. And when someone would walk up to you and say, "What's your sign?" they would say, "Oh, I'm a Scorpio," or "I'm a Sagittarian," or whatever. But that's your sun sign. Now, that is only, and they think that totally personifies you. Nowhere near it. There is all the other planets have an impact, and when you add up all the rest of the planets, it's probably equal to the sun, if not more. My birthday is November 23rd, which happens to be right in the cusp between Scorpio and Sagittarian. And I would look up the quote-unquote, you could do this, you can look up any website you want, you can look up the traits, and I'm not going to get into that, of each sign, what they are, Scorpios are this, Sagittarians are that. But I would look at it and I would see, I think, gosh, even though my sun sign, I'm actually a Sagittarian by like about a half a day, I would think I'm more Scorpio. than I am Sagittarian. And I just thought, maybe it's, I wasn't sure why, but then after I had my natal horoscope done, I found out that 5 other planets were in Scorpio on the day I was born, including Venus and Mars and Saturn, 3 of the heavy hitters. Well, this explains a lot. That's why I am quote unquote Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio down to my soul, even though my sun sign is Sagittarian. There's a lot more involved, which gives me definitely much more Scorpio traits. To run down the list real fast, the sun, your sun sign, what the sun was, is basically your personality. The personality that you present to the world, or you think you do, it may be different than you think it is, but it's the I can do it. It's the personality aspect of you, and what the image you project to the world. Now, as far as the rest of the planets, we'll go from the sun out. Mercury. Mercury is the winged messenger. By the way, did you know that all planets except Earth are named for gods or goddesses? Pretty interesting. Mercury is known as the winged messenger, and messenger. They're known. Mercury rules communication of all sorts, verbal, written, thoughts you may have, any type of, with yourself or with other people or beings. I mean dogs, cats, whatever. It's your method of communication. And I should say what you need to do with this is when, for example, on the day I was born, Mercury was a Scorpio. So Scorpios tend to be more sharp-minded we cut to the chase. We don't mince words. So I tend to do that, and that's because my Mercury was in Scorpio on the day I was born, as opposed to if Mercury had been in Libra or any other sign. You would have to look it up, but you could look up what sign each planet was in on the day you were born, and that gives you. So I have Scorpion traits when it comes to communication. Venus, the next planet, is it's got this reputation as a love planet. It's really it is, but it's not just love of like of a wife or the opposite sex or anything of this nature. It's love of beauty. It's love of if you are a particularly great lover of the arts, or you really like art, or you really like beautiful things. Your Venus was probably in a sign that makes that stronger than it otherwise would have. Mine was a Scorpio, and so my Mercury and Scorpio. Mercury and Venus are both in Scorpios. That's quite the combination. The next planet, the one that's closest to us is the Moon. The Moon has probably the most impact on you besides the Sun, in that it is your emotional center. It's what drives you emotionally. For example, I myself, it doesn't show often, but I can be extremely emotional. But my moon is in Cancer. Cancer is a very feeling sign. Feeling for family and that type of thing. So I'm extremely protective of my family. So that's where that comes from. When I found this all out and I looked it up, it all made sense. That's the thing about astrology. If you look at it and you have someone who can really, truly interpret, the charts and all this information, you'll find it's quite accurate. Mars. Mars is the planet of aggression. Is the best way to put it. Now, but I don't. A lot of people think that's negative. No, it's not. There's times in life you need to be aggressive. It's your drive. It's your, it's the get up and go. It's the reason why you get up in the morning and go to work and you make a living and you pay bills. It's the planet that gives you a kick in the butt sometimes. you know, we need a certain amount of aggression. Sometimes you can be aggressive in traffic. I mean, it's just the way it is. So, I mean, granted, as far as anything else, it can be taken too far. But, a certain amount of aggression is needed to survive in this world. Um, Jupiter, the next planet, it's called the greater benefit. Um, Jupiter, which of course is the largest planet, is known for, hey, let's have a good time. We're going to party. We're going to have a good time. Hell with the consequences. Who cares? I get, it reminds me of the old joke. What's the difference between a good friend and your best friend? The good friend will bail you out of jail. Your best friend will sit next to you and say, God, that was great. So, anyway, that's what Jupiter wants you to do. Jupiter wants you to have a good time, to hell with the consequences. Saturn couldn't be more opposite. Saturn is what I've always referred to as a taskmaster. He will stand behind you with the whip, crack it, and once you, but a lot of people, he has a bad reputation, and undeservingly so. He and my Scorpio, um, Saturn was in Scorpio, which is a hell of a combination. Um, but it's the one that will stand behind you with the whip, and he doesn't do anything to be mean. He wants you to be the best you can be, and he will. Well, we're going to a little later, maybe probably next year, we're going to talk about returns, planetary returns, and when he does return, and what that means is he returns to the exact same position, in this case Saturn, exactly where they were the day you were born, because these are heavy moments in one's life. Next is Uranus, or as we used to pronounce it when I was a kid, it was Uranus. Yeah, okay, and we found out later. Oh, wait a minute. No, you're mispronouncing that. It's Uranus. Okay, okay. But Uranus is the planet that will, well, it rules technology, rules especially electronics. Each planet, by the way, totally rules different aspects of the universe, in our solar system, that type of thing. Uranus, though, is a planet that loves to shake things up. It'll throw curveballs at you, and once again, it's not doing so to be mean. It wants you to learn. It wants you to, I'm going to throw you a curveball. Can you hit it? Can you only hit straight balls, fastballs? Let's throw a curve your way. And you're probably going to swing and you're going to probably miss. But the next time he throws that curveball, you're going to hit it out of the park. And that's what he wants to see. And once again, it's not a bad thing. You're meant to learn from the experience. Neptune. Neptune is the planet of illusion. It is. It's also the dreamer planet. Yeah, we all have dreams, and we all wish oh, I wish I had this, I wish I had that, and Neptune will. The only thing is Neptune can really pull the wool over your eyes. And once again, it's not to be mean, but it's kind of the trickster planet, if you will. Especially and we'll get into this later, when a planet is retrograde. When Neptune is retrograde, it really pulls the wool over your eyes, and you don't see things the way they really are if the planet Neptune is making like a square to another planet which rules a different aspect. You are not seeing things the way they are. The thing is that this always clears up, either when the aspect goes away or the planet is no longer retrograde. Whatever was couldn't see for the life of you becomes clear. Circumstances happen, and oh my God, look at this guy is really is a pain in the butt, and I'm getting rid of him. That's what often happens. So that's Neptune. Now Pluto, which is accordingly, I think since 2008, remember, is no longer considered a planet that got back to dwarf planet. Um, it, uh, how can I put this? Pluto can be a pain in the butt, but it it it's the planet of secrecy. It's the planet of hidden things. It's the planet that will take stuff from you, but it doesn't take anything from you that is not meant to be taken from you. It is a great ender of relationships. It is a great ender of, and we're talking not just personal relationships, we're talking between countries, um, between companies, and that type of thing. For example, if you're meant to move on, or if a relationship needs ending, uh, if it really needs it, Pluto does it. He's the driving force behind this. And there's times you may not think so at the time. 5 years ago when I got divorced, I didn't want it. And you may go kicking and screaming, but something, Pluto will win every time. There's no way around it. He will have his way. What happens with the outer planets is they are much, much slower moving than the inner planets. We go around the Earth in a year. Mercury goes around the Sun every 88 days. Venus is like 250 days. I forget the exact amount. Pluto takes 248 years to go around the Sun. So, matter of fact, the United States is, the country is, we are coming up on our first, what they call Pluto return. In other words, Pluto is going to return exactly to where it was there on July 4th, 1776. Some astronomers are very concerned about this. They are not sure what the implications of this are, because not many things have a Pluto return. What happens to, that covers the planets. Yes, there are many asteroids. Oh, when you really delve into astrology, there's many asteroids, Juno, Pallas, and there's literally hundreds of them. Yes, they all have an impact. Anything out there has a certain impact. But what happens is that it gets very complicated. I'm not about to get complex here, but yeah, I want you to have some idea of what we're talking about. Like I said, the planets were at a certain specific point at the second you were born, and from that point forward, they're still moving. So already aspects are being, but this gets burned into your memory or your DNA or however it does it. And later, and throughout the rest of your life, the planets where they are today, make aspects to where the planets were on the day you were born. This is constant. This is constantly changing. This is something, because you could say, oh, right now, I believe Saturn is going back into Sagittarius. That's where it's at right now, but it may be making a certain aspect to the position it was at on the day it was born. And you have to take those into account. Astrologers can do this. They can, they have the software. They have. I wouldn't want to be an astrologer before they invented it, before the computer age, because all that had to be done by hand, and using charts and the like, and that would be a huge pain in the butt. There's relationship astrology. One of the things that often couples do, or they could do, is what they do is they compare the natal charts. For example, me and my wife, I did a chart once between between her birthday and mine. They were very good, actually. No, in such a case like that, no, what they call comparative or relationship chart is all perfectly good or all perfectly bad. It's just a matter of how many good aspects are and how many challenges. If there's a lot of challenging aspects, their marriage will be a challenge. More so than someone between two people who is not. So, you know, it might not be a bad idea to have a relationship chart done out of interest, your own personal interest, if you're already married or involved with someone, or if you're thinking of marrying someone, it might be an eye opener. I have to say this too. Don't uh, don't ever go anywhere until in the shows we have done. I've always told potential customers, it's getting an astrology reading is not getting a psychic reading. There's no comparison. I know a couple of psychics. I mean, the real deal. Um, and you can get an instant, reading, from the real thing. Astrology can't do that. Not at all. For example, you got to get the natal chart done. It has to be interpreted. And I've told potential customers it may take you 2 to 3 weeks in order to. Well, the chart you can come up pretty quickly, but it's the interpretation. And because there are no absolutes, and it has to be interpreted correctly. And it's like, I guess, any other profession. There are people who are really good at what they do, and there are other people that should be doing something else. I've gone to tarot card readings where people were just reading stuff off of tarot cards. I can do that. Um, that was meaningless. But what the fact that astrology works, um, I think it to me is undeniable. I mean, it's not debatable. Once again, you have to keep an open mind. I keep saying that. It's true. Um, but the question now, now that you have a little bit of knowledge, okay, Mercury rules communication. Saturn is the taskmaster. How do they do this? That's where the engineer in me comes out. I don't question this. How? But I sit there and I question, how does this happen? I just said, there's got to be a way it happens. So I want to close this show, or this discussion, by talking about what rules this. It's basically it's a theory. It's a good one. Many people subscribe to it, but there is no question. I mean, no question that the universe is ruled by energy. There is nothing, and nothing that is done by you or by anyone or by anything in the universe without the use of energy. But, yeah, that's right. Buddy knows. Buddy knows. Yeah, this is, in case you missed him. This is Buddy. Yeah. Here you go. He's a cameraman. What can I say? Um, no, much of our technology is based on energy. You will use start your car. You're using the electrical energy from your battery, which is chemical energy, which is converted to electrical energy, which is transferred to mechanical energy to turn the starter to burn the energy in the fuel of your car, which was put in that fuel. That the energy was put in that fuel by the sun billions of years ago. It's all energy. There's a rule, I think I said in the first show, that it's called the conservation of the law, law of the conservation of conservation of energy, which says energy cannot be created or destroyed. I wonder if that's really true, but I'm going to take it at face value. But no. When I say, yeah, let me have that. We'll show Matt in a second. But one of the things I want to point out is, and we're going to get into this in the next show, we're going to get into the energy aspect of this. And what I want you to do, before you watch the next show, this is the world famous equation. Is your show, Damon? Mm-hmm. E equals MC squared. Down. Hello. The show? Yeah. Okay. We all know it. Everyone heard it. Do you know what it really means? Do you know what this equation actually, it's Einstein's famous equation. What does it say? What does it mean? What's the interpretation? You know, I want you to think about it. Look it up. Do what you want. And by the time you watch the next show, you'll see exactly, hopefully, what I'm talking about. And because the next show is going to be on energy, how horoscopic stuff works, and much more, because it all involves energy. Okay? Don't forget to like us on Facebook. Have a great day.